So today we're going to go ahead and talk about embodying your New Year's resolutions. And whenever I use the word embody, people look at me and say, what the heck does that mean? So I'm going to use it a few times in my talk today, but I want to give you an illustration to think about, to really understand what does it mean to embody something, let alone embodying your resolutions. So think for a minute and imagine like your favorite musician or your favorite singer. And when you listen to a song or you hear them and watch them on stage, that you just feel it in your bones, right? You can maybe feel chills when you hear the song. There's something about it that you just feel. And that is what I mean by embodying. It is that feeling and that sensation that is in your bones and deep down in your soul. Now, when we think about resolutions, I'm sure all of us have either written down some resolutions for the year, or if those of us that haven't written them down, we've probably thought about them. So what I want to do, everyone should have a piece of paper. I hope there's enough for everybody. And what I want you to do is think about what is one resolution that you have actually created for this year. You can go ahead and write it down. It doesn't have to be fancy. I just want you to take a moment and think about what is one thing that you've been thinking to yourself that you really want to do for this year. Whether it is make more money in your business, whether it is transform your health, whether it's find a man, no matter what it could be. And then I want to talk about why sometimes resolutions don't work. So here we are, it's 5 weeks into the year, and I'm not going to ask everybody to raise their hand. But I'm sure there's at least one of us here that has made a resolution and said they wanted to do something and haven't really felt into it and really followed through with what that resolution is, right? A great example of that is if somebody wanted to lose weight or if they wanted to exercise. That's usually a really big one at the beginning of the new year is, I'm going to dedicate going to the gym 3 times a week. I'm going to do it. This year I'm going to do it. I really want to do it. And why don't we? There's a reason why we don't. And it is because of this do, be, have model. So if you take a look at your sheet, there's 3 little squares that are on here. And I want you to think for a moment about that resolution. Obviously, at the end of it, you're thinking about what are you going to have at the end of it, right? You're either going to have a man, you're going to lose weight, you're going to have a better relationship with your spouse, you're going to have more money, you're going to quit your job, whatever it is. That's the end result. But I challenge and encourage you to think about what are you doing for that? Not what should you be doing, but what are you actually doing right now for that goal? So an example that I will use in the past, one of my goals has always been, I want to have a stronger and better relationship with my spouse. So if I think about what was I doing, and I had to be completely honest with myself, what was I actually doing from an action perspective? I was complaining, I was blaming, I was pointing fingers, I was talking a lot. I couldn't find the energy to actually do things that I knew would make the relationship better. But there was just something about it that even though I wanted it, and year after year, right, I have the same goal, but I couldn't manifest, I couldn't make it happen. And why is that, right? Think about just the one, resolution that you've thought about And I'm not going to give you a lot of time, but you can just write down some words or some things that you're doing, right? Because I don't want to focus on the doing part. What I want to focus on is being. So why could I not achieve or accomplish that goal? When I took an honest look at how I was being, I was frustrated. I was annoyed. I was being sad, lonely, disappointed. And when you are in those feelings that are more like lower vibrations, lower energies, you don't have the energy to sustain and motivate yourself to change and to make transformational changes in your life. So I encourage you to think about, if you've got a resolution that you have not had the chance to really come to reality, challenge yourself on how are you being? And seriously think about it. I mean, it's one of those things that it might make us feel a little bit uncomfortable, right? Because it's really getting into the core of ourselves. It's so easy to blame other people of why things aren't going well in our lives. Or, oh, I just wasn't motivated enough, it just wasn't the right time, and then we make excuses. But seriously, like, really think to yourself, how am I being? Because again, that is embodying what you want. So you said, I want a better relationship with my husband. I want to find a man. I want better health. But if I'm not being the way that I need to be in order to achieve that goal, it's going to be a hard struggle for me to do that. So now I invite you to think about, well, how can we actually be? So what I want you to think about, and some of you may have done this activity already, and if you have, great for you. Some of us may have not have ever heard of choosing one word. Right, I see some nods in the audience, absolutely, right? So I've been doing this activity of choosing one word of the year of how you're going to be. So what you'll notice on the sheet, there's a little word chart that I created that has, it's just a bunch of different words. You may find one that stands out to you. If you do, great. If you don't, that's okay. This is just an opportunity for you to brainstorm and think about, what is a word that I could focus on being and embodying? And when I looked back at what I've done over the past few years in regards to this one word, the first year, I picked the word encouraging. And it was great. It was a great opportunity for me to dive into being more encouraging. And I have to say, it was nice, but I didn't embody the word. I picked a word, which was great. I didn't embody the word. I didn't realize what it meant until last year. My word last year was nurture. Now, those of you that know me and know that I've been in WESOS for the past year and a half, that I'm a totally different person today than I was a year to year and a half ago. In part of that is because of this word that I chose, and I lived being nurturing all year. I devoted a lot of time and focus on what does it mean to nurture myself? Allow myself the time to be nurturing to myself, to others. Let go of the guilt, let go of all of the other things. And what you realize when you start embodying and being, that you will actually create more in your life than you could have ever dreamed. You've got one word that you're gonna be for the year versus, say, 3 resolutions. And I guarantee you, you will have achieved more than 3 resolutions that you would have ever even thought of at the end of the year if you start to embody that word. So what I want to encourage you to do, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes now to go ahead and think about your one word. Now, the other thing that you can do, and we don't have enough time to do this here, but one of the things that I encourage you to do when you go back home is to dream big about how you can embody this word. And what I mean by that is start to visualize what it means to you, what it could look like to you if you embodied that word. I'm going to give you an example of my word for this year. This was actually inspired in a vision board session, so it was quite interesting. My word of the year, oh, something fell. That's okay. It says discover. I'm going to discover something today. There we go. So I did a vision board, an intuitive vision board, and I picked pictures. And you'll notice, I'll go ahead and pass this around, but you'll notice there's a lot of animals that are on this vision board. There's also the word play and the word explore. And at first, I'll go ahead and just hand it around. Let's look at it. And at first I thought to myself, what the heck do all these animals mean? I mean, I like animals, but I'm not an animal lover. I mean, I had a dog and a cat, but like, there's got to be some deeper meaning behind why these animals are showing up in my vision board. And as I thought about it, animals naturally play. They don't have to ask permission to have fun. They don't have to ask permission to play. They just be. And some of the pictures in there, there's a bear that he's just like playing in the water. And I'm like, that looks like a lot of fun. How many times do we want to do something and we don't? Because we're too afraid, that the fear comes in. And this was just a representation of let go of the fears, let it be natural, be playful. So my word of this year is playful. And I plan on taking that into many aspects of my life. Many of you have heard that I plan on quitting my day job this year, and I want it to be fun. I don't want it to be a struggle. I want to have fun while I'm doing it. I want to have fun with my kids. Every day, my kids remind me of my word. Play with me, Mom. Play hockey with me. Play Xbox with me. Will you play with me? Play with me. I'm like, okay. I'm getting the message, God. Yes, I need to play more. And they're right in front of me, reminding me of playing every day. Being more playful with my husband or with my girlfriends, right? Something I've said I've wanted to do is have more girls' nights out. Well, I'm going to have fun. We're going to go out and have more girls' nights out. Yay! So when I think about the dreaming big and embodying the word, right? I just wanted to share some examples of some things that I had thought of. And then I'll share one last thing with you at the end on other ways of being playful or how I'm embodying that word. So a couple of things that I want to wrap up with before we move into the introductions. So when we introduce ourselves today, I invite you to share what your one word is. If you feel comfortable with it, great. If you don't feel comfortable with it, that's okay too. It gives you a chance to try it out and see how it feels. There have been times I've come up here, and when I was transforming my business, I tried a few taglines. Some of them didn't work out exactly as I wanted them to. I used some words, and I didn't quite get what I wanted. And I was like, okay, but you try it out, and you see, does it feel good to you in your body? If it does, great. If not, that's okay. You can change it. And what I want to invite you to do is, I'm going to share my little, and Melissa Noto is not here, but not this past year Christmas, but the Christmas before, this was the gift that I won at the Christmas party. And it actually says on here, the key to success: what would you attempt to do in life if you knew you would never fail? So this has become my word of the year jar. So last year it said nurture. This year it says playful. Then it sits on the shelf in my office because that's where I spend most of my time. But I want to encourage everyone. One of the things that I do when I have a decision or something to make is I spend time in silence. And I have created a tool that I have on my website, which is part of my free virtual offer, that outlines some tips for how can you learn to be silent. What are some things that you can do to allow yourself to be in that space of silence, to figure out what is it that I need to do? How do I need to handle the situation, whether it's for your word or it's for something else in your life? So what I'm going to do now is I am going to hand around this jar. And if anyone is interested in getting the information about the silence tip sheet, please go ahead and put your business card in here. If you don't have a business card, I've put little slips of paper in here. You can write your name, email address, phone number on it. I am not going to, haunt you and hound you with lots of information. But this is a way for you to get some of those tips and then hear any other tips or information that I provide in regards to just transformation in your own lives. So let me go ahead. I'll start over on this side and hand that around. The other thing that I will do in regards to sharing this, and I'll take one and pass these around. On the back of my business cards, there's an affirmation. This one says, I am awake and present. I allow myself to notice with no judgment, just pure awareness through all of my senses. And in the silence tips that I share, there are 7 different affirmations that you can use to tap into that own inner wisdom of your body that we all naturally have, but we may not have had the knowledge on how to tap into that. So just wanted to go ahead and invite you to share a little bit more about that. All right, now for the last fun part. So before we move into our introductions, I wanted to do something a little bit playful. And I'm going to sing a song for you guys. I'm not going to sing the whole song. I'm just going to sing an excerpt of it. So bear with me as I go through the song. And you guys, I'm sure everybody knows this song. So if I say it out of words, that's okay. I just picked certain pieces of it that I wanted to share with you. So here it goes. Got to ground myself here and get in my singing voice, right? The phone rings in the middle of the night. My father says, when you gonna live your life right? Oh, daddy dear, you know you're still number one. But girls, they wanna have fun. Oh, girls just wanna have. That's all they really want. They just want. When the working day is done, oh, girls just wanna have fun. When the working day is done, oh, when the working day is done, oh, girls just wanna have fun. Thank you.
All right.
All right.